Recently, I guess a week or so before I got ill with COVID, I had received an email message from my anonymous source, a retired electronics engineer who did work for different government agencies like NASA and DARPA and the CIA, as well as defense contractors. And basically, this person has provided a lot of different interesting concepts about what the extraterrestrials are doing on Earth in the past, and this was another one. I just didn't get a chance to get around to talking about it, and I want to go over it now. And basically, he lays out the superiority that these beings basically have over us, and why we really don't have a chance against them. Apparently, it would seem. But anyway, this is the message that he sent me. It says, people often say that if the aliens meant us harm, they would have destroyed the planet by now. Clearly, that's not the agenda. They're here to colonize, and as long as we can be kept passive and under control, they are satisfied. Indeed, the fact that they show little regard for being observed as they go about their gruesome business makes their attitude towards us quite clear. Though they haven't yet needed to use serious military force, our continued technical advances may make it necessary in the future. They appear to be preparing for it by locating and targeting our military bases and research installations, both within the United States and around the globe. This has been observed by nearly every nation on the planet with any significant level of military power. Now, I just want to stop there for a second and point out that yeah, I mean, obviously these beings, I mean, a lot of people always have it in their heads, ever since 1897 when H.G. Wells wrote The War of the Worlds, that if there's any aliens coming from any other planet to this planet, they're going to basically destroy us, wipe us out the way we wipe out other countries, when we fight in wars, blowing everything up, shooting people. And that's basically, H.G. Wells described that, something like that in 1897. Of course, they were using these machines that were much more advanced than anything humans had at that time. And of course, it's been like that ever since. I mean, after 1947, Hollywood got involved, after the 1947 UFO flap, where people start seeing flying saucers all the time. By the 1950s, different Hollywood studios were making movies like actually they made a movie version of War of the Worlds, and of course other movies like Earth versus the Flying Saucers and a whole bunch of other ones where basically aliens are here and they're blowing everything up, trying to take things over. Now, I don't think that that's what their plan is, but I guess if push comes to shove at some point, I guess they would have to do something, but I don't see it happening. I just don't see that happening. I think they have powers, such powers that they wouldn't need to ever even go there. I'm sure there's other things they can do via psychotronic means. Who knows what they're capable of? I mean, any race that's 100,000, a million years more advanced than humans, I mean, God knows. You can only imagine. Anyway, continuing. It's been said that whoever controls the air controls the land. In that case, we're in serious trouble. UFO capabilities are well known and are vastly superior to our best aircraft. They have exhibited instantaneous acceleration and can travel at hypersonic velocity without causing a sonic boom, and move at high speeds underwater without causing cavitation. These characteristics may be the result of technology which enables UFOs to distort the fabric of space-time itself. This would permit instantaneous acceleration without any effects of inertia on their occupants. It also explains how a vehicle could exceed the speed of sound without a sonic boom, or travel through water without causing cavitation. Essentially, the vehicle isn't traveling through normal space as we do. Instead, it is pushing space out of the way. Needless to say, this technology is centuries ahead of anything we currently possess, and that's an understatement, most certainly. I mean, it's something like that. I mean, if we were to try to fight against these things, it would be like trying to stop a nuclear bomb with the slingshot. I mean, basically, that's how I see it. Anyway, continuing. Another capability, sometimes described as the penetration of solid surfaces, might be the result of the same space-bending technology. Although it seemed impossible when I first heard it, abductees have reported aliens coming directly through a wall to enter their home. I assume the energy field necessary to permit such an action would be projected from the vehicle. Then it's in close proximity to the residence. When it's in close proximity to the residence. Oh, now I want to stop there. Yeah, that's a lot of people. A lot of people who said they were abducted by aliens said they actually saw them walking right through the wall. And so what he's stating here is that basically this ability that allows them to travel through space by basically pushing space out of the way. Maybe that's the same kind of technology they employ to go walking through a wall to get at their targets. And I wonder, actually, when I was a kid, I'd always talk about the experience I had where there was some being in my room when I was a kid that had 3 fingers on its hand. That's it, 3 digits that came to points. And that whole time I could hear this. It sounded like some sort of electronic humming sound. Was there a hole opened up in the wall? I never got to see the being. Of course, I never took the blanket off from over my head, so I never saw it. I knew it was there. I could see its shadow for sure, right? But there was the whole time there was an electronic humming sound. Was that humming sound? Was that the vehicle outside causing a hole to be open in the wall somewhere for the being to get in and out of? Could be. I don't know. Anyway, continuing. In addition, the small orb UFOs, probably robotic drones, seem to be able to split into even smaller devices that are able to act independently. This enables them to enter confined spaces such as subways, drainage tunnels, or even ventilation shafts where people may be hiding. Next, psychotronic manipulation goes beyond mere paralysis. It can also involve the altering of consciousness in such a way as to keep the population passive and unsuspecting. In the case of the Phoenix Lights, I noticed that many people who had observed the alien craft at close range seemed to have been rendered docile. Another example concerns a certain well-known UFO investigator. He was once a very intelligent and logical individual, but he clearly underwent a radical personality shift following a UFO encounter. He now asserts the belief that the aliens are here to help us and leads groups of people to remote areas where they are subjected to similar encounters and return psychologically altered. By a gradual process such as this, an entire planet can be subjugated without firing a shot. Now, he's not saying a name there, but I could guess who he means. I mean, he's talking about Stephen Greer there. Stephen Greer started off as he was a well-known UFO investigator, and now he's taking people out in the desert basically to see UFOs, and they have to pay a lot of money to do it, and they have to sign non-disclosure agreements. I mean, it could be, or he could be just doing it to cash in on it. I mean, I know that there's some people out there who in the field of UFOs that basically turn it into a business, and they're just out to make a lot of money on it. And obviously, I would imagine Greer is making a lot of money on it. He's building a big facility where he can have even more privacy than he has now when viewing these UFOs. Apparently UFOs are showing that's what are said. I don't know all the details. I have a problem with Greer myself. I don't like what he's doing. It just looks bad to me. As just someone standing outside the box and he's charging $600-$800 for people to show up in the middle of the desert, and that's just to show up. That doesn't include the hotel or food or anything like that. It's just to be there, to have the opportunity to be there, to see some lights potentially show up in the sky. So to me, it sounds funny, but hey, maybe my anonymous source is correct, and really what's happened is that Greer has been manipulated via psychotronic means, and that's why he's doing this, that he's turning these people into zombies. I don't know. Anyway, continuing. Finally, the amount of blood being collected now appears to be far greater than previously realized. There is disturbing new evidence to show that cattle, which apparently died of natural causes and therefore went unreported, were killed solely for blood without being mutilated. In several recent cases, a healthy cow was found dead just hours after a UFO was seen in the area, and an autopsy revealed that its blood had been completely drained. So he's suggesting that there's more cows than ever that are being mutilated, and that could be a sign, I guess, that there's more and more of these beings showing up, and obviously they need blood. They need more blood to quench their hunger. Well, I mean, to me, I like I've said this before on the podcast. I used to believe that the biggest reason for the cover up was because the government was secretly behind the scenes trying to reverse engineer this technology, and it's before any other country is able to do that. I've changed my mind over the past 6, 7, 8 months on that, because when you think about this theory that these things are here to colonize and basically they live off blood. I mean, there's some insects, of course, that we know of in the insect world. They live off blood. They're carnivores, and if these things are similar, a lot of people describe these praying mantis type beings, and they seem to be the ones in charge. And maybe the gray beings themselves are some sort of a hybrid of them, an offshoot. Or who knows? Maybe they're a hybrid of a human and a praying mantis. And it seems like a lot of people also say they see reptilians, but it seems like the reptilians are working for the praying mantis, and also a lot of times seem to have the same kind of duties as the grays. Who knows? I mean, again, we can only speculate. I'm sure that there are some people within our government that have more answers than this. But the thing is, that's what I think is. I believe that this theory makes more sense. I don't know. I'm not saying for a fact that it's true, because I really don't know. But I would say this is the number one reason for the cover up, because I mean, you tell the world this, it's and then you realize my God, these beings have they're much more technically advanced technologically advanced than the human race is. We don't have a chance. Because we really wouldn't have a chance. How could we have a chance? So we might have no choice but to sit back and just, I was just talking about this yesterday. We might have no choice but to sit back and just let it happen. Maybe that's what the government's just, they're trying to figure out. They're pondering. Do we have a way to stop this or not? Or we just accept our fate and just, roll with it?